Richie and Reedy.
A little bit of R&R.
Coming up on episode 1.
We're not just two random people that just decided to meet up in lockdown over the internet.
It's nice to know that people are listening, so come and join our club. You're welcome.
Did your dad then come out dressed up like Joey from Friends when you put all the clothes on?
Whoever wrote this book must have a serious error in judgment, because you would have to be an infant not to immediately understand where baby's belly button is.
Richie and Reedy.
Email hello@richieandreedy.com.
Welcome to the first ever Richie and Reedy podcast. I'm Reedy.
And I'm Richie.
Do you want to tell the story of how we met? At a hospital rate? Because I think we should explain we're not just two random people that just decided to meet up in lockdown over the internet. We met, Richie and I met many years ago at a hospital radio station in Ealing.
I was on a visit to the station along with a number of other new recruits, and you, I think, must have been in like a separate cohort of recruits, because you were already assigned to a very well-known, esteemed presenter, and you were sitting in on his show. And we all came into the studio whilst a record was playing, and then I believe that the record ended and we were allowed to stay in the studio and keep quiet, and the presenter asked you if you had ever had any experience with the DHSS, as it was then. And you were sitting in your chair and you were rocking backwards and forwards with excitement, obviously at the thought of being put on air to answer a question. And you just rocked backwards and forwards and went, no. And it stuck with me, because I thought, this guy's so excited to be on the radio, but he actually has nothing to say. And I suppose I found a bit of a kindred spirit there, because I thought, do you know what, if I was in that position, I'd probably done exactly the same thing.
So I was in a beginning group at the hospital radio before you had started. So I must have been there a few weeks, and then you So you joined and you were stood in that studio. I can't remember that moment. But the thing about you is you've got this diary of a memory. You can remember a lot, which is quite scary. So that's how we know each other, going back many, many years, which is lovely. And each week we're going to put out this podcast and going to really enjoy sharing with you some of the ideas we've come up with over the years that we can now put into this podcast for you.
Shall we start with our big little news of the week?
Yeah.
Should we talk about my holiday? I've just come back from a few days away on the south coast. And I know what you're going to ask me, Steve.
Social distancing.
Yes.
Because I'm pretty hot on making sure everything's done right in lockdown.
You are. Now, this was the scene, okay? So we were supposed to be staying at my parents' house, but we agreed with them that that wouldn't be appropriate or probably legal. So we thought, okay, so we managed to find a small place to stay.
That's nice. That
was near the beach, not far from them and not far from my sister's house. My sister agreed that she would house our two boys, which was very kind of her, which meant that Ruth, my wife, and we stayed in this little place on our own. So that was fine.
What was it, a tent?
But obviously it was actually it was a nice little annex to a bungalow, which was bizarre because the bathroom was bigger than the bedroom. But that is another story. But it was great because we could put our bikes in the bathroom.
I know how you feel. I had the same feeling growing up, as you well know. My parents decided to make the bathroom large and give me the bit of the bathroom that was left over as my bedroom. So I
did here.
I can picture the scene. Did you stay in my old house? No, it's quite distant. Yeah.
So anyway, we agreed that what the idea was, obviously we still wanted to see family, so we had fingers crossed that it was going to be good weather, and we went round. And the first night we went round, there was my mum and my dad. So it was a wave, it was a hi, how are you, oh, we can't hug each other. No,
they're very good then.
Anyway,
they weren't running up to you.
Well, hold on, Steve. Hold that thought, because you see, we got to the end of the first night, and my mum, we were about to say goodnight. So my sister and brother-in-law were about to head off with the boys back to her house, and Ruth and I were about to get on our bikes and cycle back to our place. My mum comes out wrapped in a rug.
What?
And says to one of the boys, "Oh, I can't not hug you." So she then grabs one of the boys to give them a hug, thinking that this blue rug that she's wrapped around her midriff is going to prevent the transmission of any.
So how large are we talking with this? It's talking quite a large rug?
It was a standard throw, the sort of thing you'd put on your sofa.
Okay, so not one of the rigids, not one of the rigid rugs you'd find on the floor.
No. A throw, perhaps, is better describing.
Fine.
Fleece type thing, and wrapped this thing right around it to create multiple layers.
Okay.
So like you see these challenges where people put loads and loads of t-shirts on over the top of it. It was a little bit like that. She just expanded her whole self by having this thing, and then gives the boys a hug.
Yes.
And we're standing there looking and thinking, well, we have based our whole holiday on not doing this, and here you are doing this. So it was a little bit odd, but as you quite rightly reacted, it was also very, very funny. So that was our social distance experience.
Your mum, to be fair though, your mum is probably desperate for a hug from the grandchildren.
Yes, correct.
And
that was the thing.
There must be so many houses that are in this same situation that, and I wonder how many people would actually put themselves in a rug for that. I bet most grandparents would wrap themselves up to try and make that happen.
I think yes. Given the circumstances, I think you probably would. But
did your dad then come out dressed up like Joey from Friends when he put all the clothes on? I
was waiting for that moment, but he looked on equally as bemused.
So it wasn't a rehearsed thing. It was your mum just.
Well, it may have been. It may have been premeditated by my mum, but if it was, I think she kept it to herself.
Oh,
yeah. After that point, it was back to sort of waves and things, apart from the end. But it was quite funny because we had to head off and it was raining. And I had just had to adjust one of the bikes on the back of the car. And I'd literally got out the car to make that adjustment. And I just sort of waved. I just went, bye then. Because it's very difficult because you don't know what to do. You don't want to drag it out.
No, you don't.
But at the same time, you don't want to go, oh, we shouldn't hug because everyone will get upset. So I just gave it a little cheery wave. Cheery bye, into the car, beep, beep, off we go. Very sad to leave in that way, but nothing else you can really do. So
you're pleased you made the journey down to see your parents, and good for them as well, because am I right in saying that they have been pretty locked down more than a lot of people because of whatever reason they've not been able to get out and see people?
They've chosen, I think, and they
Well, they would have loved that. That's very nice of you, and a big old journey as well, because they're down in the south coast and you're up in the northeast. So
although we beat the record, 5 hours and 50, I think we beat the record to get there this time.
Well, it's brilliant.
One-stop strategy, Peterborough services, fabulous. And all the way down. Perfect.
How do you social distance in a service station from people when you go to the loo? Because that's why most people stop at a service station.
Well, some of them are taped off.
Oh, the urinals.
In the gents, at least. Some of them are taped off. Some of the cubicles are taped off.
Why is that? Why?
Because they don't want somebody standing next to somebody else.
Do you do that a lot?
Well, I don't, but if it fills up, then I suppose it can't it?
You're talking. When I say cubicle, do you mean like
actual
the cubicles?
Place where you go for the numero dos. That's right. Yeah.
But they're screened off. I don't understand.
Yeah, but I think the idea is that you're still within very close proximity, and usually they don't extend all the way up to the ceiling. So therefore, if somebody were to cough, those germs could go up and down over the top and down into the next one, couldn't they? So,
wow.
Or underneath, because there's usually a little gap, isn't there, about a few centimeters at the bottom, isn't there? The germs, I suppose, they don't discriminate, do they? They just go where they can. So presumably they'll find a way through. So I suppose I'm not a scientist or that lovely word, epidemiologist, which is a new word on me, but this year, obviously. But I really like it because it sounds good. And everyone says it like they know what it means, but actually nobody, like furlough. Who knew what furlough? Yes. How did you even spell it before? And then everyone uses it like it's a word that's been in the dictionary and been in the language all along. Well, no, it sounds like something out of the 17th century, and we're all using it all of a sudden. We're all Susie Dent. It's very odd. True. But that's a slight aside. But
well, well, I'm glad.
Steve,
you're back.
You have some stories.
No, I was going to say that actually I'm not sure my story of my week really quite lives up to that, because it involves a snail on a path that my son spotted and decided to rescue the snail and put it to the side of the path.
Before you go on, can I tell you what I thought you were going to say?
Oh,
because on our little script, it simply says Snail Path Sun Video.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I had a vision. You may remember last season's goal of the season was by Son against Burnley when he ran the length of the pitch. And sometimes when they show it in replay, they show a little tracker that runs behind them. And I genuinely thought you were going to talk about the slow motion goal that Son scored. Scored. And the little path the snail-like path that was made behind him on the replay. That's what I thought you were going to talk about. Anyway,
it's so far-fetched from the moment. In fact, do you know that makes my story sound even more exciting now? Thanks for that. No, it was really just a snail on the path. However, to a 5-year-old boy, that isn't just a snail on the path. That is the snail that needs to be rescued, because the snail may get squashed. So he picks the snail up and puts it over to the side, and it's quite a hot day. So he asked me, what can we do? And so I got some leaves and I put some leaves over the snail. And then he wanted to take a photo. Because a lot of kids that age are very much, they own what they pick up. It's theirs. They love it. They don't want to let it go. And so he said, Daddy, can we take a photo? So I took a photo of the snail. Then we're walking along a little bit, and he says to me, can I make a video of the snail? And I said to him, well, I don't know. And then he's 5, and he said to me, well, because I've got some facts that I'd quite like to talk about with the snail, about the snail. And I said, like what? And he said, well, do you know how to tell how old a snail is? Now, I'm a lot older than my son. And I said, no. And he told me. Okay. So what we decided to do is he came up with the idea, by the way, because we didn't have any motion pictures, to just use, he said, can't we just use the picture as a still, okay, in the video, and then add some words? And I said to him, why don't we go in the studio here, and you can say the words to your video, and I'll show you how to make a video. So we made a video about his snail. I'll hold that up to the Zoom call. There's the snail there. You see that? And
yes,
have a listen to this.
This video is about a snail. This video will show you what a snail looks like.
Can I just explain as well? You hear the music in the background. This is how much
he mixed that himself.
He got his miniature drum kit and
brilliant.
said that I know the music that I'd like to go with this video, and it's one of the loop sounds from his drum kit. So I had to hold the drum kit up to the microphone in the studio. Have you ever tried to ask a 5-year-old to keep quiet for a minute? It doesn't happen, or keep still. They don't know how to do it, right? They will move.
Yeah.
So how many attempts? Anyway, we got there, and I made a loop of his drum machine music to go on his video, and that's the music that you hear in the background, right? So here's the rest of the video, and you may learn some stuff.
We put leaves over the snail so it didn't get hot. You can tell how old a snail is by counting the rings on the shell. The snail is very cute and it's very pretty. Thank you for watching this video.
I mean, you have to say that deserves a small clap, Richie. Okay,
it does. I think he may have a career ahead of him as a voiceover artist. I
Absolutely
don't know if it runs
no
in the
way.
family
And you take
or
all
not,
my work.
but,
you take all my work away from me.
Yeah, very good.
Do you know? And when we were doing it, it's like I said, okay, so that's done then. And he said, oh no, actually, I've got an idea for something else to go on the video. Can I just record this? And the end bit where he wanted to thank people for listening to his video, he was directing what he wanted to say.
Oh,
so
I like that.
I said, off you go then, back in the studio, have a little chat. But that was really cute. So our weeks really couldn't have been much different. Mine involved a snail and yours involved, well, a holiday.
Yes. I think one thing that could be said, Steve, about him is when he first joins a hospital radio station and he is put on air and questioned for the first time, I suspect he'll have a bit more to say.
Thanks very much. Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, right now it's time for this on that note. The or Not Quiz. And your host this week, Richie Hawkins.
Hello, welcome to the or not quiz. So this is a quiz that Steve and I came up with. Well, Steve had the idea. It took off and it ran for quite a long time. The essence of it is we take it in turns to choose a subject which can be obscure or not. And it's usually or generally or hopefully something that we know absolutely nothing about, so that we basically have to guess the answer. And the idea is obviously to catch each other out and to see who wins. And we keep a little running total, or we will do for the podcast, to see how we get on. So this week, Steve, our subject is soap or not. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. Okay. You're thinking coal tar. You're thinking Lux. You're thinking Imperial Leather.
Of course I am. No.
Okay. No. Soap opera. Okay?
Oh, right. Got it.
There was a program on the television the other day, Harry Hill, one of those ones that he does where he looks at, clips from shows, and it was all about soap operas, and it was really very funny. I urge you to watch it if you can watch it on replay, and it was very good. And I thought, you know what, that's given me an idea for this. So Steve,
great, I'm looking forward to it.
3. Okay,
I can't. Do you know? Just before you start, I have to say I'm so excited about this because, as you said at the beginning, we started this quiz so many years ago, and I'm really, really happy that we're able to bring it to more people now to get involved with this.
The first one is Shark in the Park. Soap opera or not?
Ooh. Correct. So these are soap operas from around the world.
Correct.
Wow. Shark. What was it again?
In the Park.
Okay. Let me just think of the concept of Shark in the Park. And when I'm thinking of the concept of a soap opera from another country, the template that seems to be in my brain is Neighbours. So I'm thinking a rather more violent version of Neighbours, where you have a group of people that happen to live near shark-infested waters, and it's all about whether they encounter the sharks. That's my concept if I was calling something Shark in the Park. Would that be a soap opera?
Well, there is the question.
Would anybody watch it? I think it's about that. People living in a neighbourhood where they encounter sharks, and it's to do with a bunch of people that like going to the seaside or surfing, and It's like a light-hearted version of Jaws, maybe. Would this be on like pre-Watershed?
Those questions, Steve, I cannot answer. Not because I don't want to.
You've not watched it,
you, but because I genuinely
didn't have time to watch it.
I didn't really have time to check out any episodes. No.
Okay, fine. All right. So I'm gonna say, because it's so obscure, Shark in the Park soap opera. Yes, it is a soap opera.
It is a soap opera. Correct.
Yes! Yes!
It ran, well, you say obscure. It managed to last for 3 years in New Zealand between 1989 and 1992.
Okay.
Don't ask any more questions about it. I don't know the plot or anything else about it. So I'll move on to number 2.
Brilliant.
Okay.
I'm going to look that up later.
So here's the next one.
Okay.
Hawkins falls over. Soap or not?
You're joking me. You're having a laugh.
I jest you not.
Because that's your surname.
Indeed.
I'm telling you like you don't know.
Just check my passport.
Waiting for you to say, is
you're
it?
Correct. Yes.
So
what do you think?
I have no idea what that would be about. See, I like to imagine that the soap opera title, example Casualty, gives a bit of a clue as to what it might be.
Well, yes, you would hope it does. Otherwise, it would be be like Dallas taking place in Australia, or
yeah,
something, wouldn't
exactly. It? Repeat the title of the soap opera for me.
Hawkins falls over.
Okay, all right. Well, that sounds just like one episode to me of a children's book.
Night in my 20s. Yeah.
And so Hawkins falls over. I'm wondering whether Hawkins has got another meaning that I don't know about. That is somewhere. Hawkins falls over. Would that be a soap opera? Wow. I'm just gonna have a pure guess on this. Obviously, it's everyone's a guess. I can't think about what that show would be about, and therefore I have to say it's not a soap opera. No.
You are correct.
Yes!
It is not a soap opera.
Yes!
However, there was a soap opera called Hawkins Falls, which ran in America between 1950 and 1955.
Wow. Sadly, we weren't around when that was on
weren't
TV.
Around for it, but
I
don't know what that was about either. Presumably a waterfall, but I'm just guessing.
Somewhere. So actually, I'm not competitive one little bit, obviously, but that means I've won this week already, which is fantastic.
You have indeed. So do you want to go for the clean sweep?
Yes.
As it were?
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay. Here we go. So the third and final one. Vesuvius FM. Soap or not?
Sounds like a radio station. It sounds like, if this is real, I'm thinking along the same sort of lines as the road that El Dorado took in its succession or non-succession.
Couple of seasons and they blew it all up.
What they did. Yes. It was
so
basically
Vesuvius would probably go down that same route.
It was basically rubbish, and no one watched it. But I think, oh my word, if this is true, there's somebody shouting at this podcast now saying, "Yes, come on, I've seen that." What if anybody's seen any of these, the ones that you've mentioned that were actually on TV? So I'm going El Dorado type program that wasn't very successful and therefore got binned after, I don't know, maybe got commissioned for a second series. And I'm going to say, yes, it was a soap opera. And I'd like some more details if it was. That's my answer.
Okay, well, the answer is, Steve, it is not a soap.
Oh!
However,
yes,
there was a Polish soap opera called Radio Romans, which ran between 1994 and 1995. So there we are. You have won this week by 2-1. So well done.
Yeah. I'm thinking that Polish soap opera will be kind of Alan Partridge type flavour going on.
I would imagine there would be a Roman centurion sitting there going, "Aha!"
Do you know?
Yes,
I loved that subject. I really do. And if you'd like us to play your or not quiz, then all you have to do is email us with the subject, 3 questions, and which ones are true and false. And if you know a little bit about the answers, then put the detail in there as well. So email us at hello@richieandreedy.com. Brilliant. Love that. Join us next time for another or not quiz.
Richie and Reedy.
A little bit of R&R. Now, before we tell you about our next feature, there's a story behind how it came about. There's a lot more people getting deliveries because of the virus, but you don't always get what you ordered. And I really can't believe this happened. Well, I can believe it happened to Richie because I've known you for many years. Richie, please tell us about your body shop experience.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Body shop. The shop, not where you take your car to get repaired.
Oh, no. Yeah. Clarify.
Yeah, we must make that distinction. So the Body Shop, I like their products. Unfortunately, the local store where I live closed down a few years ago, so I don't often get the chance to buy stuff from there. And I thought, well, I want a few bits, and I'm, as we said, I'm getting more deliveries online, obviously, than going to shops at the minute anyway. So I thought, well, I'll go on. And I had a look for some things, and I thought, I'll treat myself. And I bought a few things like shower gels. Well, they're
such a modern man.
So you don't buy them every day. Shower gel.
Oh yeah.
Shampoo, an eau de toilette, a matching shower and body hair type shower gel thing.
Yes.
And a nail file, because I like the nail files. And Steve, I don't like going and buying nail files from shops.
Why? Who's looking at you?
I just feel a little self-conscious going up. And this one is lovely. It's in a lovely pink, almost like presentation case, which is great for a nail file. I mean, it's only going to last you a few months, but you get a presentation case. And it's good. It's acrylic, so it really does file your nails properly. It's almost like a file you'd get in a woodwork shop or something.
You're giving me some good tips. Thank you for this.
Yeah. And as well as that, there was a scrub, which, as you might know, it's usually a tub, and the contents of it have got bits in to help you exfoliate. So it's it's gritty to the touch.
Yes, so I know what you mean. I have to confess, by the way, my one that I use is in a tube, so I've not had the tub experience like you.
Okay.
So I squeeze it a bit.
Yeah.
And get my exfoliating fix through that method. So how do you manage the quantity, or is that coming up? Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Well, that's coming up, but we'll put that image in your head that I've got my body scrub there. Now I'm thinking I'm going to have give myself a little foot spa. In the boot of our car, we have a little washing up bowl that we used to keep for when the boys were younger, in case they felt sick on the journey. That's now
still in the car.
Got a new lease of life. Well, it's got a new lease of life as a container for, get this, some of the cardboard sick bowls that you see on Casualty in Holby City.
Yeah.
And some face masks. It neatly fits a 2019 AA Atlas and a few shopping bags, all neatly contained. So it's actually a little sort of compartmentalization of the boot of the car. But obviously, when you need to do a foot wash, foot massage, foot spa thing that you want to do, you have to go and get the basin. So I went to the car, got the basin, came back, and I opened the tub of the said exfoliating, not cream, but exfoliating
stuff.
Stuff, yeah. And I open it, and there is this gouge in it. You know, when you go to a shop and they have demos of so you walk into a body shop, and there will be the products on a shelf, and there'll be one that says tester or demo. And you can see the bottle's half full, it's a moisturizer or something, and everyone has a little go of it.
Oh,
in
my word.
Normal times, obviously, not really in COVID times. But so you know that's the tester. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, somebody's had a go at this. It was as if two fingers have gone in and gouged out a bit, and somebody's had a little go. Now the thing is, this has happened in the warehouse because it's obviously not come from a shop.
Yes.
But additionally, it's not like it's a moisturizing cream where you just put it on your hand and rub it in and job done.
No.
You would need to actually physically wash it off. So you're actually...
That's right, yes.
Someone's had a little bit of an exfoliation mid-shift.
So there's some person in the warehouse that's maybe got a bowl similar to yours, sat there, a bit of warm water, trying out your product.
Yeah, trying out some kind of foot spa or a bit of exfoliation.
Did it say on the? Have you checked your invoice? Tried and tested by Julie. Did it say that?
Well, it would have been funny if it had said that. And so I'm thinking, well, this isn't right. This is cheeky because they're not cheap. And so I wrote to them and I said,
you wrote to the body shop.
I wrote to their customer dissatisfaction department. Well, that's what I called it. And
what did you say exactly?
I said, well, look, I'm a little concerned. I took some photos, obviously, as you do. My instant, the way we think at the minute, it's instant, isn't it? Quick, get a photo. So I did that, and I sent the photos, and I said, look, I'm a little concerned that one of your warehouse staff might well have stuck their fingers in this and used some. And I got this response, and it was very, very sort of polite, but almost, well, I'm sorry to hear of your problem. Well, okay, thank you. But
quite generic reply, was it?
Yeah, generic, rather than
like it could have been any product.
Yeah. And so what can we do to help you? So I thought, well, what can you do? We haven't got any more in stock. Oh dear. All right. Well,
because all our staff have used it on the
yeah, because our staff pilfered them. So I got some strawberry body butter, I think it is, which my son likes and has pilfered before I've even had a chance to use it. But that's fine. So I got a free something in exchange for their, obviously, incompetence, should we say?
This is only you, and I don't know anyone else this would happen to.
But it, all's well that ends well. I thought, well, if they're going to send me that, it's fine. But it was a little bit cheeky.
Hang on, did you this? You know that this has been touched and somebody's taken some of the scrub from it. Have you? Did you?
I worked around where the gouge was. I worked around. So I haven't actually gone to the bit where the gouge is, if you see what I mean.
Well, yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So there's the story that led us on to coming up with our feature for the podcast, which is this. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Richie's Reviews. Each week, Richie is going to search the internet to discover his favourite product review. By reviews, we mean these people have put some serious quality time into thinking about the detail of their reviews. Richie, what have you found this week?
So this week, a book, and it is called Where is Baby's Belly Button?
Wow.
A Lift the Flap board book. Okay?
Okay.
The review gets 1 star, and it's entitled Do Not, in capital letters, buy this book. You can see, in capital letters, the ending right on the cover. He says, or she says, this book is completely misleading. The entire plot revolves around finding baby's belly button. The title makes this much clearer from the beginning. However, there is no mystery. There is no twist. baby's belly button is right where it's supposed to be, on baby's stomach, right where it clearly shows you it is on the cover of the book. This plot is a complete mess, as is a result of its reliance on the mystery of where the belly button is. Everything falls apart the second you realise that the belly button was in plain sight all along. There is no conflict, there is no character development, and there is scarcely any plot. Whoever wrote this book must have a serious error in judgment, because you would have to be an infant not to immediately understand where baby's belly button is. Wow. This is one of the worst pieces of literature I have ever read.
Oh my word. Wow. He is really, or she, that person is really going for it. Does it tell you what age group the book is for?
Well, no, but I think you get the impression that it's one of those thick board books that pop up with the flaps. It's probably, yes, for that kind of preschool age group.
So that under 3-year-old is kind of like, you couldn't be anywhere further from the point of what an under 3-year-old cares about as a plot in a book.
Exactly.
Do you think maybe this person, they bought it for themselves, liking the subject title, and were highly disappointed it didn't relate to somebody in their 30s?
Who couldn't find the belly button because it was hidden under layers of fat or something. Yeah, quite possibly.
They thought it was a self-help type book, maybe.
Yes.
Why would you? Let me try and put myself in the head of that person. Why would you go into that much? There's a lot of rage, isn't there?
There is. I think whatever they spent on that book, they feel they've obviously wasted. They perhaps maybe don't have a child in the family that they could offer it to as a gift, where it might be sort of perhaps better used and more appreciated.
Just give it to a charity shop. But you've got to think, what would be the plot and what would be the mystery behind the belly button in this book that would make it better?
Well, I think the fact that they give it away on the cover, where the baby's lifting up the T-shirt to show the belly button, kind of says a smart kid's going to look at that and go, there it is, Mummy. I don't need to read this book. And I've read the review, and I agree.
If you have a review to send to Richie, please do send us a link to a review that you've seen that really goes for it and you feel really needs to be shared and read out on the Richie and Reedy, a little bit of R&R podcast. Hello at richieandreedy.com. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Richie's Reviews. Hello, you're listening to Richie and Reedy, a little bit of R&R podcast. Thank you for listening to us. This idea is something, at first, when I mentioned it in our show meeting to Richie, he was a little bit like, ooh, doesn't that sound elitist if we do that? Richie and Reedy's Listeners Club. And just before we go into detail about what it's all about and how you can get involved, Richie, why did you think it was elitist at first? Did you have trouble getting into clubs and stuff when you were younger?
No, I didn't, but I did think that it was a bit of them and us if you create a group like that, and I didn't really like that. So
okay. And what about now, though? Now you've had a bit of time to think about it.
Well, we just need listeners. We want listeners, so we'll do anything. Join the club. Come on. Yeah, we want people to listen. So we get paid, but it's nice to know that people are listening. So yeah, come and join our club. You're welcome. Everybody's welcome. So
we would like to get you into the Richie and Reedy Listeners Club and give you a special mention, the recognition you deserve for spending time listening to us. And all you have to do to be included in the Listeners Club is email us with your name, where you're listening, and if you can, give us an interesting fact about yourself. If you have one, email us at hello@richieandreedy.com. Richie, we already have some people wishing to enter the Listeners Club. on episode 1.
Yes, we do. George in Lewisham, South London, was very much looking forward to the first episode. I know you've written was. So we hope, George, that you're living up to your expectation.
Yes. Well, a lot of people have seen the social media messages that we've been putting out to say, for episode 1 coming soon. And we've had some really lovely reaction back to that, not to put any pressure on us. Carolyn and Ian listening on their Alexa. Right now, I don't know why I've written number 5 next to that. Just ignore that. That's a script error on that. Hello to them.
Hello, yes. Welcome. We can't say Alexa too much because we might turn their lights on and off or something.
Well, exactly.
George, working in Dubai for a radio station. Again, doesn't say male or female. Hello, George. Can't wait for the podcast, guys. Good luck.
That's nice, isn't it? It's a lovely message to send us. Hello, George in Dubai. Sean in Bushy. I know Bushy. Hertfordshire. Okay. Just back from a little holiday away with a few friends. Say hi to Dave, who looked after us and enjoyed riding the little train. Wow. I mean,
I think we need a bit more detail there, don't we? Was it just like a one-carriage train that you get in Wales, or was it like a little miniature railway train that goes round a park?
Dave sounds like he's on holiday with a few women, and he's kind of the only. This is what I'm reading into that. He's the only guy that's there, and so they're kind of saying, Dave, come along and do our things with us. Dave kind of goes along with it, but he's a little bit shy, doesn't really want to go on the little train. Maybe they did send him on the train on his own.
Maybe. Or maybe Dave was just the train driver who looked after them while they were on the train.
Yes, could be.
I don't know.
Yeah. Hello to you.
Told him where the ice cream hut was afterwards.
You all get a virtual, wait for it, Richie and Reedy wristband to be in the listener club, rather than one of those hand stamps that just fades over time, doesn't it?
Yeah, wristband over hand stamp every time. So all you have to do to be included in the listener club is email us with your name, where you're listening, and if you can, give us an interesting fact about yourself if you have one. Email us at hello@richieandreedy.com.
Richie and Reedy.
A little bit of R&R.
Richie, we've reached the end of our first ever podcast.
The time flew by.
You sound so convinced.
Yes,
by that.
It's been really nice having a chat with you again through the medium of Zoom and technology. It's been fun. Yes, enjoyed it.
Good. You want to do it next week?
Nothing on next week, Steve. Let's do it.
Let's do that. Okay. Well, thank you for listening, and please do keep sending in your hellos and any suggestions for reviews that you'd like Richie to read out. And don't forget also the or not quiz. If you come up with any ideas for that, you can email hello@richieandreedy.com. We're all over social media at Richie and Reedy. Tell your friends and family about